Pokemon. So, yeah, I recently discovered in an old box my Pokemon Color, and yeah, I went to a Buffalo Card Con and they were selling. One of the vendors at the Card Con was selling, yeah, Pokemon Red, which was an old video game, and I was like, did I played that growing up? Do I have that around? So I was at my parents' house this past weekend, and I was like, yeah, let me stumble around in the basement, in the attic, looking in boxes because I know maybe I have my Game Boy somewhere. And actually, the first box I looked in, yeah, I found my Game Boy, and in it was, yeah, Pokemon Reds. This is Pokemon Red. This is, yeah, my original cartridge, made in Japan. I don't know what the year this was, but um, yeah, I found this, and it's I've been playing it, and it's fun. So I did want to kind of talk a little bit about, yeah, Pokemon Red. So here again is a look at the disc of this vintage game. I mean, I spent many hours playing this, but yeah, there's just something about the vintage games. Vintage is new again. Yeah, it's this red, and then of course the Game Boy Color, which at its time, right, the color element was like game breaking. The fact that you had color, and I think it's maybe hard for Zoomers to really understand this, but yeah, this, and I'll log it on here. Let's see if I can find an angle that's good to work on. But yeah, as that gets started, I want to get a little bit into Pokemon, right? Because I think the first thing, it's kind of been fun to get into Pokemon cards and the Game Boy game at the same time. Yeah, let's see if you can see it here. That's the intro, Pokemon. It's just been fun to get back into it. So I have a game going here. I call myself Chewy. So here I am walking around. Yeah, you can look for monsters, Pokemon. And I think it's funny, right? This is Pokemon Color, and I don't think by today's standards that this is color at all. But yeah, you can, here I am battling. Oh, it's a Weedle. Yeah, it's a level 8 Weedle. So I got my odd shell. I'm actually training right now because I'm fighting this Pokemon gym. So I'm fighting a water gym, and I need a plant Pokemon. So I have, let's see, we'll hit him with a Absorb. And yeah, this has been very nostalgic for me to get back into Pokemon games. And yeah, it's just been fun to get back into it. We'll see run away because it's, yeah. And I got to show everybody my charms are. So you have this Pokedex Pokemon. Let's see if I get, yeah, my charms are here. That's my charms are. That's my main character. Yeah, it's a little bit about Pokemon Red. So we'll turn off for now. But yeah, I think getting back into Pokemon here in the cards and this game it's kind of cool at the same time because I have appreciation. But essentially, I want to talk a little bit about the Red game. So first, when you get into Pokemon Red, kind of the first thing that happens is you have to choose. First of all, you meet this guy, Professor Oak, who this is the Professor Oak base set card. But Professor Oak, he essentially has 3 Pokeballs because he's like this Pokemon researcher. So he's trying to study and collect all the Pokemon, but he has these 3 Pokemon balls. And essentially, your first thing you do in Pokemon Red is you have to pick one of the 3 balls. So you either get to choose a Charmander, a Squirtle, or a Bulbasaur. I went with the Charmander. I felt like, given I was playing Pokemon Red and I'm collecting Charmeleons, I had to. But yeah, it's like the most important decision in the game because essentially, as I've been getting into Pokemon Red, realizing just how much, right, countering the different energies. So I have a Charmeleon at this point because he's evolved. So he's the fire Pokemon, right? He's red. And I'm right now trying to get past the Pokemon gym where the gym leader there has water Pokemon. So water obviously beats fire because it's, obviously water puts out fire. So my Charmeleon is like almost useless fighting this gym because he's getting like stymied by a Starmie. So yeah, that's the kind of the first thing is you have to choose either Charmander, Squirtle, or Bulbasaur. And yeah, I think it's just got me, back into the mindset. It's cool to be getting back into cards while I'm also getting back into this game because I've been spending too much time. I know it's a little 2-inch monitor here, but it is, yeah, it's just definitely a lot of nostalgia coming back, and it makes me appreciate even maybe some of the lesser Pokemon cards because, right, you're encountering Rattatas and Sparrows and Weedles, which are kind of feeble Pokemon in Pokemon lore, but it makes me appreciate the cards much more. So I did want to. That's a little bit about Pokemon Red. So yeah, I'll keep you all posted on how I'm doing. And yeah, I think Game Boy games and Pokemon Red is coming back, at least in my soul and spirit. And it was just funny because I was at the Pokemon vendor and they were selling refurbished games and they're explaining to me how, right, if the the game gets old, you have to refurbish it, and some part needs to be taken out and a new one needs to put in. But I after maybe 20 years, turned this thing back on. It worked like no charm, and yeah, this is my new time killer. And it's fun at the same time to be playing it. But I did want to talk about, yeah, last week I covered the base set. So I talked a little bit about, yeah, the Charmeleons that I'm collecting. So I've got these 3 Charmeleons. So yeah, I talked about the base set, which is essentially the original, the original Pokemon run. And these are all shadowless sets, which I went over, the difference between a first edition, a shadowless, and a base set. But today, kind of, I want to talk about an earlier vintage set, which kind of in the spirit of the Kabuto King, right? Because the Kabuto King started this phenomenon where there's this pseudo name that he's collecting all of the first edition Kabuto cards. But I want to talk a little bit about, right, this is the base set, but I wanted to talk a little about this thing here. So this is a member of the fossil set. So the fossil set was after the base set, which is original. The next kind of set, it was either fossil or jungle cards started coming out. And we have a viewer here, McIntyre. Hi, Virginia McIntyre. We're talking about Pokemon cards. So yeah, the jungle set is one of the earlier Pokemon versions. It's kind of after the base set, but this is one of the earlier versions of Pokemon cards. So I have a couple fossils here. I have a Zubat, an Ekans, and a Geodude. So there's kind of just different characters in the base set. If you have these more alternative characters that the Pokemon company is starting to throw, but you can identify a fossil by essentially have like almost this, it looks like a skeleton hand here. And that means it's just they're a fossil set. And you can see kind of earlier versions when I talked about the Unlimited set has this shadow. Even the first edition fossils have the shadow, kind of different than the shadowless Charmeleon. And yeah, kind of similar to the base set. There's, first editions would have this first edition stamp, and then later runs have, they're missing a stamp. So all these Ekans, Geodude have no stamp, and that's the fossil set. So one of the earlier vintage sets after base set, and really this Kabuto King. And I think there's a lot of people that have been mimicking the Kabuto King with their collecting cards, and a lot of them have started collecting first edition fossil cards. So I know there's an Ekans collector out there, and I want to take the Geodude, the Ekans, and the Zubat because I think traditionally, right, and they're thought of as kind of these very feeble characters, or like nobody's really cares about an Ekans or a Zubat. But again, playing the Pokemon Red, these are some of the first characters that you encounter in the Pokemon world of Pokemon Red, is you actually encounter some of these fossil characters, which I guess being out of the game so long, I thought that I didn't realize how the fossil set characters were related to the base set. I kind of just thought of them as kind of unrelated, but as I got into this Pokemon Red game, some of the first characters you encounter are from the fossil set, even before you see a lot of the base set characters. So yeah, that's the fossil set, not to be confused with the base set, although they're obviously very similar. A lot of the same interface of how they look, right? The Charmeleon is a base set. So yeah, the vintage has this very look of the artwork, analog, right? Not very digital, although some of them are digital. But yeah, the fossil set is a later print run or different set of Pokemon cards that came after base set, but still vintage. I consider them vintage. I know at David Adams Card World, some of the packs I were buying after Unlimited, the fossil set, and that's why I actually have part of my personal collection. I do have a lot of first editions because I must have just been buying, David Adams at the right time when this was first coming out. So I do have a good amount of first edition fossils, which are cool. I think I value the first edition. There's something about the first edition set, and just knowing that it was the first print run of anything is pretty cool. But it was been really cool. And I think even growing up, these were not cards that, I thought were cool. They were in the back of the binder. They were not in the front. But as I got older, I think I've just had an appreciation for, the artwork of some of the vintage cards. I mean, this Geodude, just the artwork is cool versus the vivid colors in the background and the punching. And, I just love the vintage look of the cards. And I think, it's cool to kind of get back into it and have appreciated of these cards that, right, again, I said I have some trauma because I lost my good binder, but it's cool to kind of get back and realize, the cards I had in my quote unquote bad binder are pretty cool too. And they're an important part of Pokemon lore, not just in Pokemon Red, but in the larger Pokemon ecosystem. So yeah, that's the Pokemon craze.